So yesterday, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs announced the list of 45 countries and one territory where individuals are permitted to enter Thailand without quarantine based on specific guidelines. And you have a list there of the 45 countries and one territory on screen. Of course, you can also find information about this on the social media platforms of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, as well as the CCSA and other news outlets. This was reported widely since last night. So the CCSA and related agencies have carefully considered this list based on many factors. This includes the coherence with other countries' reopening plans. So the coherence with the policy of other countries are taken into consideration, as well as their international travel regulations to ensure the safety of everyone residing in Thailand and incoming travelers from abroad. And even though some countries and areas are not on this first list that you saw just now, but if you are fully vaccinated, you can enter the Sandbox scheme still, the Sandbox scheme in various provinces, which you can travel freely within those Sandbox areas. And of course, this list of 45 countries and one territory will be revised in the middle of November in the coming 2 to 3 weeks. And again, also in the beginning of December. So don't be too worried that the country that you reside in, it may not be on this first list yet. And hopefully, of course, there will be more countries and areas added during this very short time span in the coming weeks. Now, so starting from the 1st of November 2021 onwards, there will be 3 channels for those who wish to enter Thailand. First, fully vaccinated individuals who have been residing in these 45 countries and one territory for at least 21 consecutive days may enter Thailand without quarantine on the following conditions. Now, I'm talking about the green column that you see on screen. You can look at some details there. Now, first is that they must have a negative RT-PCR test result issued within 72 hours before traveling. They must also undergo an RT-PCR test on their arrival date and wait for the result of the test at a SHA Plus hotel or AQ hotel, or until they receive confirmation of a negative result. Those who have just traveled out from Thailand, those who are resident in Thailand actually, and those who have traveled out from Thailand after being resident here will be exempt from the 21-day stay requirement of the listed countries and territory. Second, now we're talking about the blue column in the center there. Fully vaccinated travelers may enter Thailand via the Sandbox schemes, but must stay in the Sandbox area for at least 7 days. And of course, you know the provinces such as Phuket. We started off with Phuket as the first Sandbox scheme. And travelers under this scheme will have to undergo 2 RT-PCR tests. The first test is on the arrival date, and the second test is on the 6th or 7th day of their stay. Now, third, and we're talking about the red column on screen right now, both Thai and foreign nationals who have not been fully vaccinated may enter Thailand, but will have to undergo the alternative quarantine or AQ for 10 days if they travel by air, 14 days if they travel by land. They will have to take 2 RT-PCR tests on the arrival date and on the day 8th and 9th of their stay. And just in addition, particularly talking about the green column, the 45 countries and one territory, which of course will be an expanded list in due course. Just talking particularly about that column, that children aged under 12 years old who are unvaccinated can enter the country in the same arrangements, same measures as their parents. So if their parents and children, the family, travels from one of those 45 countries and one territory, they of course will be exempted from the quarantine with the conditions mentioned. But the children accompanying those parents from the 45 countries, children under 12 who are not vaccinated can still enter the country with their parents under the same arrangement and measures with their parents when traveling with their parents. I'll move on to the issue on the curfew to be lifted in the Sandbox provinces. This was mentioned also by Dr. Apisamai in the Thai language briefing just now as well, that in line with the gradual relaxation of measures toward Thailand's reopening, the current curfew, which is 11 p.m. to 3 a.m., will be lifted in the 17 pilot tourism provinces, or the Sandbox provinces, starting from 11 p.m. on the 31st of October 2021. So on the 31st of October 2021, the curfew will be lifted in these 17 pilot tourism Sandbox provinces. And of course, these 17 provinces include Bangkok, Prachuap Khiri Khan, Phetchaburi, Samut Prakan, Chiang Mai, Buriram, Loi, Nong Khai, Udon Thani, Chonburi, Trat, Rayong, Krabi, Phang Nga, Phuket, Ranong, and Surat Thani provinces, 17. Please note that for some provinces, the curfew will only be lifted in specified low-risk areas and not the entire province. So of course, naturally, check with the local authorities there as well.